having a wonderful day. So today I wanted to, first of all, I'm rocking my shirt, my dope shirt that I got from Kalita J. Felt like wearing something that just inspired me, empowered me. So I decided to rock this shirt today. And that's one thing, always have something in your environment that's going to help to inspire you and keep you going. But today I wanted to talk about self-sabotage. So self-sabotage is something that there are certain behaviors that we exhibit, and essentially what they do is they stop us from achieving our goals. They stop us from progressing in life. And so a lot of us, including myself, have self-sabotaging behaviors. None of us are exempt from it. So some of the things that I'm going to share with you, these are things that I have personally experienced in my life. And so, like I said, none of us are exempt, but just wanting to go through a few of them with you so that way you can start to identify some of the things that may be stopping you from really truly tackling your goals, growing to the point where you're able to fulfill your purpose in life. And I have some things written down over here. So if you see me looking over to the side, that's what I'm doing, because I got to keep myself on track. Otherwise, I'll go off on a tangent. But okay, so number one is procrastination. So when we procrastinate, we tend to put things off to the last minute. We may do a whole bunch of other things that keep us busy versus things that are actually productive. And so procrastination is, I think, one of the number one self-sabotaging behaviors. All of us have some type of procrastination that we do at times. One thing that there's a book that I read. Well, actually, my husband read it a long time ago, and we still have it. It's called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And basically, the title means like eat that frog means that if you had to eat a frog and you didn't do it like at the beginning of your day, you're going to be thinking about having to eat that frog all day. I mean, unless you just like eating frogs, but I don't. So basically it's saying is if you, those big important tasks that you have to get done, do those first thing in the morning, knock them out. So that way you're not constantly thinking about like, oh, I still have to do this. And then once you get them done, then the anxiety and the worry and the stress behind having to do that particular activity goes away. Okay. So don't procrastinate. So the second self-sabotaging behavior I like to talk about is overthinking. So when you overthink, you're constantly in your own head. And a lot of times the thoughts that you have are going to be more focused on the negative versus the positive. Have you ever been in a situation, and I have recently a couple times, where you have people that are like, well, what if this happens? But what if this happens? And they just keep the what ifs. Okay. So when you overthink, you're always in your own head. And I always say, okay, a lot of people, if you're thinking negative and saying, okay, what if this doesn't work? What if you switch that and say, what if this does work? If you are somebody that, say, for example, you are wanting to try something new, you're wanting to start a business, but you're nervous about putting yourself out there. You're nervous about putting videos online, going live, posting your products. And you think like, oh my God, people are going to think that I post too much. People think that I talk about myself too much. Well, first of all, so what? And if that's the case, then they can stop following you. But second of all, a lot of times, and I don't mean this in a bad way, we give ourselves too much credit in the fact that we think people think about us more than they really do. Like in reality, people really aren't worried about you as much as you think they are. Okay, so stop overthinking. And if you are thinking about certain things, try to focus on the positive versus the negative. So number 3 is avoidance. So avoidance happens when you try your best to avoid situations that may cause you a little bit of anxiety, situations that may get you out of your comfort zone. So the issue with that is if you avoid every single thing that makes you uncomfortable in life, you are never going to grow. And if you have goals and dreams and things that you want to accomplish, it requires a lot of growth. And in particular, it requires a lot of mental growth, right? So avoiding situations that make you uncomfortable is going to self-sabotage you in the fact that, again, you're not going to be able to try new things. And when you try new things, you're going to get to new levels. So if you are one of those individuals that you maybe have social anxiety, maybe try putting yourself in, simulated situations, or take a friend with you, or do some practice things. Like for example, I remember when I had to do one of my first health talks for my business, instead of me just, okay, throwing a PowerPoint together at the last minute, I prepared it and I practiced. I timed myself. I listened to myself. And that helped me prepare. And otherwise, if I say, you know what, this just scares me, I don't want to talk in front of people, and I never do it, then I'm never going to be able to educate more individuals about my business. So again, try your best not to avoid situations. Try to just do new things that maybe make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And a lot of times you'll find out that, hey, that wasn't so bad. And then the more you do something, the more comfortable you get at doing that particular action. So again, try not to avoid situations that make you uncomfortable. All right, the next behavior I want to talk about is perfectionism. And this was me. You know what? I'm not even going to say was. This is me. Sometimes my perfectionism stops me from doing things and getting it done. And with this, everything has to be completely perfect. And there's a certain standard that you always need to live up to. And this leads to kind of like an all or nothing type of situation. So meaning if it's not perfect, then I'm not going to do it. So perfectionism can also be kind of considered you also being a little bit of a control freak. You want to have everything planned out. You want to try to predict how everything is going to go. And first of all, you can never predict how everything is going to go. And it's extremely stressful. So one thing that you can do is just kind of learn to go with the flow. And as far as perfectionism is concerned, if you never put anything out, how do you know how effective it's going to be? That's how you learn. And again, how you grow and get feedback. So that way you can improve whatever you're doing, be it, a product, a service, or whatever it is. So again, try not to make everything perfect before you actually go for it. And the last behavior I want to talk about is self-criticism. Now, we all have some type of self-criticism. And this is when we constantly overanalyze our own behavior, we beat ourselves up, and you have a negative connotation about yourself. First of all, it's unhealthy. And so when you start to notice that you're criticizing yourself, first of all, think about all of the awesome things about yourself and try to redirect those thoughts. And sometimes people have, I don't know if it's a coping mechanism or if it's something that they don't like about themselves and they'll make a joke about it and they'll laugh about it. Don't do that either, okay? And so again, do your best to not criticize yourself. And it's one thing to have constructive criticism, but to just simply criticize yourself or others, it's not going to allow you to get to where you want to be in life, okay? So just don't do it. So just to summarize, 5 examples of self-sabotage are: number 1, procrastination, waiting to the last minute to do something. Number 2 is overthinking. Try not to get in your own head. And if you are in your head, make sure that you are focusing on the positive versus the negative. Number 3 is avoidance. Don't avoid situations that make you uncomfortable. When you avoid situations that make you uncomfortable, then you're not able to grow. In order to reach new levels and to accomplish all of our goals, we have to get out of our comfort zone and we have to grow. Next up, I talked about perfectionism. So everything does not have to be perfect before you give it a try, before you put it out there. That is how you get feedback. That is how you find out something is actually effective. It's okay. We all make mistakes. We all make errors. It's okay. Don't take it don't be so hard on yourself. Which leads me to the last one, which is self-criticism. Don't criticize yourself. Don't think negatively about yourself. Think of all of the positive things about yourself, grateful things. And if you can't think of anything, which I know you can, ask some other people. and just to tell you how wonderful you are, because you are all, everybody's wonderful in their own right. So again, make sure that if you watch this video, feel free to share it. I think this is important information that we all need to know in order to grow and just evolve into the best version of ourselves so we can serve our purpose on this earth. I am Dr. Lindsay, and like I always say, find health, and I will talk to you next time.